going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. The last video you guys saw was a trailer for something that me and Angel been working on for a while, and this is more of a sit-down video on his hatch, and what else? And I don't know. I mean, I'm very I love doing like cinematic stuff. This is just a little bit of it. But yeah, man. I mean, you guys check it out, and once you're not gonna see me at the end of the video, so just go ahead and like afterwards and subscribe if you guys liked it. I'm not gonna be sitting here. Just go ahead and like and subscribe if you haven't seen anything yet. So yeah, after that, just yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one, all right? Okay.
What's up, guys? My name is Angel, and this is my 91 Honda Civic hatchback. I bought my hatchback probably like a good 15-16 years ago. I bought it, I want to say, when I was 18 years old. Currently now I'm 34. Bought it at a dealership somewhere in the neighborhood where I kind of stayed in. It's actually something, a car that I actually wanted, when the first time I seen it. I had a friend looking around for cars after an unfortunate situation happened with my first car, and he ended up finding this 91 Civic hatch sitting in the dealer, and he calls me and tells me he found one. And at the moment I was at work, so I couldn't go physically go see it, but I trusted him to go see it. Car was selling at the time, I think it was 900 bucks. I had the money to get it. I had the 900, but I asked him if he can try to see if we can get it cheaper. He actually ended up getting it for 500 bucks. So I ended up getting it for 500, and obviously I was super excited. Got out of work, and after getting out of work, I rushed home, and it was sitting in my driveway. The engine that it came in it was obviously D-Series. This car is pretty much, at that time it was a basic model, so it didn't come, no power windows, no power locks, no nothing. Came with a D-Series. I want to say it's a D15, carbureted fuel injected, so it wasn't the fuel injected model. 4-gear trans, pretty much. It's just, I think it was more an economy car. Didn't really have no horsepower. I think they normally come with maybe 70 horsepower, 80 tops. That's what I was working with when I first got it. So after I ran it for a little bit with the D15. It was running good. When I first got the car, it had 237,000 miles on it. And I think one night, me and my friend were kind of messing with it a little bit, just try to see if we could get it to go a little faster. We messed with the ignition, the distributor. He was advancing it and messing with it, just to try to get it going. We ran it for a while, and unfortunately the next day when I went to get on the freeway, go to work, it blew a piston ring and it lost compression. So there went the motor. But at the end of the day, it kind of just, it was old. So I ended up saving some money and ended up finding a CRX motor. I ended up finding one of the local junkyards around. So the CRX motors, it was an SI motor, so it was a 1.6 fuel injected. That was the first swap that was swapped into the car after the original one. So it just ran for a while and had to be converted back to fuel injected, carbureted, just because my car is not fuel injected or wasn't fuel injected at the time. So that was the first swap that was put in it. I didn't do it because at the time I didn't know nothing really about cars. So I had a friend of a friend do it. Paid him to do it. He swapped it in there, got it done in a few days, and got it up and back and running. So then after the D series that I had in it, I was kind of hanging around the guys and talking and trying to see what else could be done to the car to try to get it faster. At the time, I think the scene wasn't too big. So it was not too many things that you could really do to it to make it faster besides swapping it, and it was kind of early stages in the game where you could swap a B series in these. Currently, right now, the swap that's in it is B16A1 or B16A. Is the JDM swap that comes out of Japan. It comes, I want to say, out of a '93 Civic in Japan. I want to say it's the SRR. So I end up acquiring it a while back, a few years ago. After I got, I went B series. Obviously, I wanted more horsepower. Just kind of try to go somewhere different. So the next step was going, B series VTEC. So I ended up finding the swap. At that time, XC Speed was the website that you pretty wanted to go to. Just where a lot of people were at and selling stuff, and just forums and all kind of stuff. If you needed to learn something about a car or a Honda specifically, then that's pretty much where you went. You found parts on there, and I think one day I was just scrolling through Exceed. Wasn't really looking for a specific motor or nothing, actually, just kind of scrolling and came across this B16A. When I seen it, I kind of just fell in love, and I wanted it. The exterior portion of the car has gone through, hasn't really gone through a lot of changes. The only changes that it's actually gone through is obviously the car is a 91, and the bumpers that I'm currently running right now, bumpers and moldings, are from '89 Honda Civic Si. I actually found these bumpers and moldings in a junkyard one day that I just happened to just kind of go through the junkyard, just seeing what they had, just kind of gathering parts and seeing what I needed and what was there. So I ended up walking through, and I ended up seeing '89 Civic Si, and when I walk up to it, it was the bumpers that I was kind of looking for. I like these bumpers because they remind me of the SR bumper from the SR hatch. It's got like an indentation in the in the trim here, in the black trim, and it reminds me of like the SR bumper that that comes on the SR model of this of the hatches. So I just kind of bought the bumper little by little. I bought one bumper, and then I went back, bought the other bumper, and then went back, bought the moldings, and that was the upgrade that I went with after the first paint job. The first paint job that I had got was through a mutual friend of ours. His name was John. Um, at the time, obviously, it was primer black. So I ran like that for a while. It really didn't bother me, but I knew that I was eventually gonna end up painting it. The paint that it's painted right now is Milano red. So I kind of just set up a deal with him. I had purchased 91 Integra, and I only wanted it for the motor that it had in it. And he wanted a shell, so we made a deal. I said, hey, if you paint my car, plus those motor mounts that you have, you can take the car. So he agreed. I think he bought the paint. He bought the paint, or I bought the paint. I can't really remember. Either I think he bought the paint, and I just bought the clear. And we just went from there. He painted it for me, and it looked amazing. And that was the first setup. That was the first time that it got painted. And then a few years later, I end up painting it again. But the only reason I ended up painting it again was just because I had new bumpers, and I didn't want the car to look different colors. Because sometimes if they mix a paint, it would be obviously two different colors. So I was like, well, I can try it. I've never done it before, but I can try to do it. So that's exactly what happened. With the help of my cousin Manuel, he helped me mix the paint. I had a friend of mine let me use his garage. Took the compressor over there and prepared and took it apart, sanded it down, and got it painted. I got it painted for the first, I think, big event that we went to was West Honda, Michigan Honda meet, down in South Haven. And that's when I revealed it with the new bumpers and new moldings, and that was the setup. After that, it really hasn't gone through really much of a change. It stayed with the change, but a year and a half ago, it did go through a pretty much a big teardown. The teardown was pretty much down to bare metal, where everything was taken out. The harness was taken out, motor was taken out, brake lines were taken out. I mean, everything out the car was taken out.
And so it is. He just replaced that whole rocker arm or pillar, whatever, rocker panel.
Are you a car guy?
That's the thing. I'm not a car guy.
And it was stripped down to bare metal. Again, this is my first time doing it. My first time doing such a big project, such a big task. And I did it in my dad's garage. And I tore it down and just kind of came up with a plan of what I wanted to do, how I wanted to do it. Time, I ended up stripping it and ended up finding some spots that it had kind of developed rust under the paint. So I end up, good thing that I ended up stripping it down, because if not, I would have never found it. So I stripped it down, did the work, did all the body work that it needed to be done, and then just proceeded to just do everything. The steps that needed to be done to get it back up to get it painted. It does have a brake tuck in it, so obviously you can't see none of the brake lines or nothing. Everything's inside the firewall there, and then the brake lines that go to the front wheels, they're coming in through the inner fender there. It is fully hydraulic, so it is running a hydraulic trans. So that's also running through the inside. All the cables for the hydraulic system is running inside. Running through a master cylinder. I mounted it onto the chassis in a spot of a stock bolt where a normal stock bolt would have gone. I just kind of trimmed it and just made it fit. Other than that, it's pretty much everything is pretty much stock. I mean, obviously, it's got stock headlights of Stanley's. The corners are aftermarket. They're clear corners. The front bumper lights are stock. They're original Stanley ones. It does have an aftermarket wing that I got off eBay. So I got a good deal on it. It's a fiberglass wing. I love it, man. When I put it on, it set the car off. I think that was probably one of the finishing touches that it really needed. I ended up finding the lips for it. They're not original. Original lips they're like super expensive. And they're kind of sometimes rare to find. So these are aftermarket lips. And I think that's pretty much it. Everything else is pretty much original. It's got the original hood, original fenders, original doors. Pretty much there's really nothing else that's aftermarket in it. I did put a little bit more attention in the engine bay than obviously the rest of the car. The rest of the car don't really need a lot of attention, but this was my main focal point. I replaced every bolt in it. So all the bolts on it, they're not factory. I could say to a lot of people that want EFs is I don't know how to explain it, man. I mean, this has been my car for the past 16 years, and I love it. They're not, you don't see them often, especially here in Michigan. You don't see them a lot. I think this year has been one of the most gracious years, and I've been humbled. I'm a humbling person, and I'm just humble regardless. So this car was seen at one of the meets, and it drew a lot of attention. I didn't think it was gonna draw that much of attention, but it's an EF, and they're rare, especially now in age where no shade to all the new cars, but I did this. I built it from pretty much the ground up, and it's an EF. Anything that about the EF is just I don't know. It draws you to it. So I mean, if you're gonna get into it, I mean, it's not easy just because of it being OBD0, and there's not a lot of application with the OBD0 stuff. Obviously, if you want to do a B series swap, you're right. You have to run a jumper harness. If you're OBD0 and you're fuel injected carbureted, that becomes a problem because now you have to convert it to fuel injected to run applications like B series and anything that's fuel injected. So I mean, if you're gonna get into a EF, just take your time and appreciate it. These are becoming real rare. OBD0 is a hard platform to do. So just take your time, man. Do research, and just kind of find. Nowadays there's a lot of forums and there's a lot of videos on YouTube of converting it. So just be patient. Take your time. If you're gonna stay OBD0, then just look for things. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate them, man. They're hard to find nowadays, especially clean, and people will appreciate it. This year I've got a lot of feedback from a lot of people that they haven't seen a lot of EFs. They haven't seen a lot of old schools like this, especially like this clean. but yeah, I put the work into it. You know, I put a lot of work. One thing that I can tell you, if you're getting into the car scene, just, you know, just love it. You know what I'm saying? Cars are something that you fall in love with, and here I am, a 34-year-old with, you know, a car that I've owned almost half my age, but has taught me so much. I've learned so much. It's taught me patience. It's taught me character. It's taught me how just to, you know, grow. You know, open doors that I never thought I would get into, and just be humble and appreciate the things that come in life. You know what I'm saying? This has been a car that has brought me through a lot of things. You know, I've gone through stuff in life, and it has been my out. You know, I learned how to be a mechanic. I learned how to be a painter. I learned how to be a welder. I learned how to be a fabricator with this car. It's taught me a lot. It's shown me a lot, and it's, you know, brought me together with a lot of different people from a lot of different places that share the same passion. You know, I have a, you know, car family that we all share the same passion, and we all love cars. Shout out to my team, Team RMR. And if you guys don't know what that means, it's just remembering Mika Rodriguez, which is, we lost our cousin a few years ago, and she was part of this crew. So the name of it means a lot to us, and we remember her all the time. I run it proudly on my car. And then, like I said, man, just be passionate, love what you do. Don't let nobody tell you nothing else. You build this for you, nobody else. It's your passion, it's what you want to do, and don't let nobody else tell you otherwise.